They pulled an all-nighter and then like tried to cash up on sleep on the
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
We've all been there, right?
Totally.
But today we're diving into the world of sleep with renowned sleep scientist Matthew Walker.
Okay.
And trust me, what he has to say about those weekend lions, it's not good news.
No, it's not good news at all, and it goes way beyond just feeling groggy on Monday morning.
Right.
We're really going to unpack why sleep is truly the foundation. It's like the owner's manual to your well-being that we never got, but we desperately need.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We all know sleep's important,
Yeah.
but it seems like in today's world, it's almost like a badge of honor to be sleep deprived.
Right, right.
You know, look how busy and important I am. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night.
I'm hustling, I'm grinded.
But the truth is, this sleep deprivation is costing us.
It is.
And not just, in terms of our health, but
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a massive financial burden on nations, too. I mean, Walker points out billions of dollars are lost in productivity. And then for us individually, chronic sleep loss, it's just a recipe for so many health issues, weight gain, diabetes, a weakened immune system. You're just more susceptible to getting sick. And accidents.
yeah.
He calls it a public health crisis.
It's a bold statement. It makes you wonder, like from an evolutionary perspective, why do we even sleep?
Yeah.
It seems risky. Like if you're vulnerable for 8 hours, wouldn't predators have had a field day?
Right. You'd think so. It's fascinating when you think about it that way. Like, we're shutting down for a third of our lives.
Yeah.
And yet, sleep has persisted through evolution. And Walker was talking about how some animals in the wild, like certain dolphins and birds, they've figured out ways to sleep with only half their brain at a time.
Oh, wow.
It's called unihemispheric sleep.
Wow.
But for us, total shutdown is the only way to reap those restorative benefits.
So what is happening during sleep that is so crucial? What's going on in those sleeping brains of ours?
It's like a total body reset. It impacts everything from your hormones to brain function and even your emotional well-being.
Right.
He describes it as our body's life support system.
I like that analogy, like our own personal nightly tune-up.
Exactly.
So tell me more about those restorative benefits. Like what's actually happening when we're catching those Z's?
So during deep sleep, our body's hard at work, regulating our blood sugar, fortifying our immune defenses.
All right.
You know that feeling when you wake up and you just feel refreshed?
Yeah.
It's not just in your head. Your body's actually been busy doing all this maintenance work.
Right.
And then there's research that's showing that sleep plays a role in, clearing out harmful proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease.
Hold on. Are you telling me that getting a good night's sleep could potentially reduce my risk of developing Alzheimer's?
Well, the research is still ongoing, but the findings so far are promising. It seems like deep sleep is really crucial for activating the brain's waste removal system. So it's like a nightly cleaning crew.
Wow. This is why I love these deep dives. I always learn something new.
Right.
It's not just about feeling less tired. It's about protecting our brains long term.
It is. It is.
But, let's face it, not all of us are wired the same way when it comes to sleep.
That's true.
Some people up at the crack of dawn, raring to go.
Yeah.
Others are practically nocturnal.
Night owls, yeah.
So where do our individual sleep patterns or chronotypes kind of come into play?
Totally. We can't talk about sleep without acknowledging that we're not all meant to thrive on the same schedule, right?
Right.
And this is where Walker introduces the concept of a sleep divorce.
A sleep divorce. Okay, that sounds kind of intense.
Yeah.
Is he suggesting that couples actually sleep in separate beds?
He is. He is. But hear him out. It's not about a lack of intimacy.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that when couples have different sleep schedules, it can create tension, resentment.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine one partner is a night owl and the other is up at dawn.
Right.
By, actually prioritizing their individual sleep needs, they can improve their relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's about finding a sleep schedule that works for both partners.
Exactly.
Even if it means, sleeping in separate rooms. It's not about drifting apart.
Right.
It's about prioritizing both sleep and the relationship.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned earlier that sleep deprivation can have some serious health consequences, even if we think we're making up for it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Can we dive into that a little deeper? What are some of the long-term effects of not getting enough shut-eye?
You know how we talked about sleep debt being credit card debt?
Yeah.
Those missed hours, they really do add up.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little anxious just thinking about it.
Right.
But how much damage are we really talking about?
So for example, Let's say you pull an all-nighter. You miss a full 8 hours. Even if you sleep for 10 hours straight the next night, you're only likely to gain back like 4 or 5 of those lost hours.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, your body can't magically erase that sleep debt,
Okay.
no matter how long you stay in bed.
So even when I think I'm catching up, I'm actually still running a deficit.
You are. You are. It's like this compounding interest on your health.
Okay.
And over time, these what seem like small deficits, they accumulate.
Right.
And then we end up paying a price. Increased risk of weight gain, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, even premature aging.
It's wild how interconnected everything is.
It is.
Like we always separate, like sleep, diet, exercise, but I don't know, they're all like intertwined.
They are. And sleep is often the linchpin.
Yeah.
Remember, like we were saying about sleep as this full body reset?
Yeah.
When we shortchange our sleep chronically, those systems, they start to malfunction.
Right.
Our hormones get out of whack, our blood sugar levels go haywire, our brains don't function optimally.
And that's where all those like serious health risks come in.
Exactly. It's not just about feeling tired.
Right.
Chronic sleep deprivation throws your whole body out of balance.
Okay. That's some seriously motivating information. So we know we can't fully catch up on sleep, but what are some actionable steps we can take to like actually prioritize it?
Well, small changes can make a world of difference.
Okay.
And that's where Walker's sleep hygiene tips come in. We touched on a few already, like regularity, darkness, and temperature. What resonated with you?
I'm a big fan of the regularity piece.
Okay.
I'm definitely guilty of, burning the midnight oil during the week and then trying to make up for it on the weekends.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, sticking to a consistent sleep schedule is key.
It is.
Even if it means like missing out on those late night Netflix binges.
Consistency is key. You got it. Now let's talk about darkness.
Okay.
We're not just talking about dimming the lights here, okay? We're talking like cave-like darkness.
Blocking out all those like city lights and glowing screens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our bodies need that deep darkness to produce melatonin,
Yeah.
the hormone that signals to our brains that it's time to sleep. He suggests dimming the lights an hour before bed to help boost your natural melatonin production.
So ditch the overhead lights and opt for like lamps or candles. Got it.
Exactly.
What else can we do to create that sleep sanctuary?
Temperature. That plays a crucial role, too.
Okay.
Most of us actually sleep in rooms that are too warm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He recommends aiming for a cool bedroom temperature around 65 to 68 degrees.
I always thought a warm room kind of made you sleepier.
It seems counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but your body temperature naturally dips as you drift off to sleep.
Okay.
So a cooler room helps facilitate that process.
Okay, so we're talking consistency, darkness, a cool room. What about those of us who tend to, like, lie awake at night with, like, our minds racing? Any tips for kind of calming those anxieties?
Yes. The dreaded nighttime rumination.
Yeah.
Right.
Ugh.
Our brains can be our own worst enemies when it comes to sleep.
The worst.
Meditation. Meditation is fantastic for this, just calming the mind.
Yeah.
But he also suggests something called taking a mental walk.
A mental walk. Interesting. What is that?
Basically, you close your eyes and you just visualize yourself on a familiar, calming walk.
Okay.
Maybe it's a stroll through your neighborhood or a hike in the woods. Engage all your senses,
Okay.
the sights, the sounds, even the smells.
I could see how that would be incredibly relaxing and distracting in a good way.
Exactly. It's all about shifting your brain's focus away from those worries and anxieties and onto something more serene.
That's a great tip. And you know what else helps quiet my mind at night?
What's that?
True crime podcasts.
Really?
I know it sounds strange, but something about those like detailed, often intense stories like completely captivates my attention and I just drift right off.
That's not strange at all. It actually makes perfect sense.
It does.
It does. It has to do with our brains having limited bandwidth for processing information.
Okay.
When we engage with something that's super detailed and captivating, like a true crime podcast, it basically monopolizes that bandwidth.
Okay.
So it crowds out those anxious racing thoughts that tend to pop up at night.
So my brain is so busy, like engrossed in the details of the case, that it forgets to worry about my to-do list.
Exactly. It's like a form of mental distraction
Okay.
that allows your brain to unwind and prepare for sleep.
Okay.
It's like giving your brain this captivating puzzle to solve so it can finally just switch off.
That makes me feel so much better.
I
I thought I was the only one who used true crime as a sleep aid.
Not at all. And it doesn't have to be true crime either. Any audio content that you find engaging, immersive, can have the same effect.
Okay.
Think about it, those sleep stories with the rich, vivid descriptions.
Right.
They capture our attention, they lull us into this relaxed state. It all comes down to giving our brains something to focus on besides our own anxieties.
So whether it's like a podcast, a sleep story, a mental walk, whatever works for you.
Exactly. Find what works for you.
Now, before we move on to the, ever-present topic of like technology's impact on sleep, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
What's the deal with clocks?
Yeah.
Why does Walker recommend, removing them from the bedroom?
It's about reducing what he calls sleep anxiety.
Okay.
When you're constantly checking the clock,
Yeah.
obsessing over how many hours you're getting or not getting,
Right.
it just amplifies that stress. The frustration
Yeah.
makes it even harder to fall asleep.
I've totally been there staring at the clock, watching the minutes tick by. Like, my anxiety just goes up.
Exactly. So removing the clock, it takes away that temptation.
Okay.
You're giving yourself permission to just let go of those worries
Okay.
about the time. Just surrender to sleep.
It's a simple change,
It is.
but powerful.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that often feel like impossible to resist these days,
Right.
let's talk about technology and its impact on our sleep.
The elephant in the room.
Right.
It's a double-edged sword, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
I mean, we have access to this wealth of information and entertainment at our fingertips.
Right.
But those glowing screens are wreaking havoc on our sleep.
We've talked about blue light's impact on melatonin production.
Right.
But what about that urge to like scroll through our phones in bed?
Oh, yeah.
It's like we can't resist, even when we know it's like so bad for us.
Walker calls it sleep procrastination.
Okay.
And it's a common struggle, I think, in
Yeah.
our always connected world. We're lying in bed, maybe even feeling sleepy.
Yeah.
But instead of switching off the lights, what do? We pick up our phones
Every time.
every time. Just one more video.
It's like our brains are wired for like instant gratification.
Totally.
Even if it comes at the expense of a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
So how do we like break free from this sleep procrastination cycle?
It's funny. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective.
Okay.
It all comes down to setting boundaries. And Walker's a big advocate for what he calls a digital curfew.
Okay. I like where this is going. Tell me more about this digital curfew. What does that actually look like in practice?
So it's about making that conscious decision to disconnect from our devices at least an hour before bed.
Okay.
That means no phones, tablets, laptops, and yes, even no TV.
I have to admit, the thought of going like tech-free for a whole hour before bed, it feels a little daunting.
It does.
But I see the value in it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, think of it as creating this buffer zone between like your waking life and your sleep time.
Right.
It just allows your mind to unwind, transition into a more relaxed state,
Right.
and then it's easier to fall asleep and stay asleep.
It's like creating a digital sunset,
Yeah.
to mirror the natural one instead of that constant barrage of like notifications and blue light. We're giving our brains a chance to kind of wind down naturally.
Exactly. And here's another simple but powerful tip.
Okay.
Make your bedroom a tech-free zone.
Okay.
Like, charge your phone in another room, and ideally not even in your bedroom.
Out of sight, out of mind, as they say.
Exactly.
I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, I kind of want to circle back to something that we only briefly touched on earlier.
Mm.
The fascinating world of dreams.
Yes.
They often feel so mysterious,
Yeah.
and elusive. But, like, is there any scientific evidence to support the idea that they actually serve a purpose?
Absolutely. Dreams have fascinated scientists and philosophers for centuries.
Right.
And thanks to, sleep science, we're finally starting to understand the important role they play
Okay.
in our cognitive and emotional well-being.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me everything.
Well, Walker, he believes that dreams, particularly those that occur during REM sleep, they're really crucial for our creativity, for our emotional processing.
So all those, like, crazy vivid dreams that I have might actually be my brain working through emotions, making new connections.
Exactly. He describes dreams as a kind of overnight therapy where our brains are processing the events and emotions of the day,
Okay.
but in this safe, symbolic way. So we revisit these experiences, but without the same emotional intensity.
Right.
So it allows us to kind of work through them and then wake up with a fresh perspective.
It's like our brains are doing some serious emotional housekeeping while we sleep.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the fascinating part. He also believes that during REM sleep, our brains are busy like making connections
Right.
between seemingly unrelated ideas, experiences,
Okay.
and that's what leads to those aha moments,
Right.
of insight, creativity. It's
Yeah.
like our brains are playing this cosmic game of connect the dots
Right.
while we're off in dreamland.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I have often had my best ideas after, like a good night's sleep.
Right?
So I guess those dreams were actually my brain's way of, like, working through a problem or finding a creative solution. This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
It's amazing how much, we're learning about sleep and, like, its impact on literally every aspect of our lives.
It really is remarkable, and it's not a luxury.
Right.
It is an essential pillar of our well-being.
Well said. And on that note, we will leave you with this. What if, instead of chasing the elusive 8 hours, you focused on making your bedtime routine a period of true mental disengagement? Could even a few minutes of tech-free calm do wonders for your sleep?
Right.
Sleep on that. Until next time, sweet dreams.